Greetings, friends.
And welcome back to Spyro 3.
Yeah, we're gonna do some more of the levels.
Yeah.
Well, at least one of the levels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to do this one. So I normally like to save these ones for last. This level, you need to have Sergeant Bird in order to be able to get all of the gems and all the eggs. And I don't like having an uneven number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it hard to tell how many gems you're missing without opening up the friggin' menu half the time. So. My portal working.
Cool.
Seashell Shore. She sells seashells by the seashore.
Man, I used to love looking for shells and like shark teeth on the beach.
Yeah, I haven't been to the beach in a long time, which is wild because we live right next to the beach.
Yeah, we're like surrounded by water.
Yeah. Like we could go to the beach like anytime.
Yeah, just drive in any direction.
And summer's like almost over.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I've never been to like North Beach or. I probably have. It's just, you know, I probably was taken there as a kid and wasn't like aware of like which beach I was at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to the water park a lot more often when we were kids, and that's like in the beach.
Yeah, and we lived on a creek when we were kids. We used to go to that all the time, like just down to the pier.
Yeah, and we had a boat when we were real young and used to go on boat rides.
Yeah, our Pop-Pop's old boat, and then I think someone sold it, or I don't remember.
Yeah, I think our aunt has it. I'm not too positive, or maybe our cousin.
I don't know.
Someone's got it.
Yeah,
it's out there somewhere.
Has that old ass boat.
The cabin that just smells like mildew.
Yeah.
And probably full of cat fur and poop.
What? Were there cats living in there?
I don't know if you ever saw, but Mr. Bob's cats used to like go in and out of it.
Really?
Yeah, when it was like covered with a tarp for a while.
Oh, and they would just
like be like.
I
don't know if they were
knew
like
that.
living in there or what, but I'm pretty sure one time I went outside and just heard a couple of them messing around in there. I was like, oh great.
I never knew about that. Were his cats? Did he just like feed strays, or was he just like, yeah, those are all my outdoor cats?
Pretty sure they were strays, because like people used to come and drop cats off in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
like,
our
we said in
neighborhood
the last episode it was like super rural.
Yeah.
We actually at one point had a cat that she looked like a Mancoon.
I think she was a Maine Coon. She was really noisy. And
she was like so social. She would just like come right up to you and be meowing nonstop and just like rubbing up against you.
Like, and really sweet. Yeah.
A few times like we would open the front door and she would come running inside
Yeah.
right away, and we'd be like, no, you gotta go outside.
Yeah. You're like, our dog's gonna get you.
Yeah, but you could just tell she was dropped off. It was really sad.
Whoa. Sorry. I don't know for sure. We'll have to watch it in the playback, but I think that dragon that just came out of the egg was like, like laughing like a goober. There was like some weird, yeah.
It could have been that enemy too. I think he was like shooting you while you were getting the egg.
He was, but I don't know if it was him laughing or it was the egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I skipped it too, and also because we were talking about our old cat. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
she was a real sweet cat. Yeah, and it was like whenever it was like winter, she would come running in. We'd be like, "No, I'm really sorry, but you can't. We don't have a litter box." And, yeah, but we, you know, kept feeding her all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a real sweet cat.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice place to grow up, just surrounded by nature and stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like the reason we're so socially awkward, though, is because we grew up in that neighborhood. It was, like, a lot of, like, older folks who lived down there, and then there were, like, a few kids our age, but, like, we went to different schools and stuff, because we were in, like, a different district, and then we just kept transferring to stay in the same district, because we were like, oh, we don't want to, you know, lose all of our friends.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, we hung out with the neighbor kids a few times, but I don't know. Like,
it was mostly just for, like, one summer when I think I was like 9 and you might have been 11 or something.
9/11! No.
It's a sign.
It's a sign. We did 9/11. No.
Our neighbors.
Yeah, no, they, there was like one summer, I'm pretty sure, our grandma was like, because she would come over to watch us, like, cause I'm the oldest of 4. We had, you know, 2 much younger kids, and yeah, we weren't, you know, even when I was like 10 or 11, it wasn't like I was going to be in charge of a freaking 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Our grandma would watch us, and then one of our neighbor friends was a few years. I think he was like between the 2 of us and our 2 younger siblings. So he's probably like 4 or 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Our grandma watched him, and then there were there was like another family that lived down there, and we hung out with them occasionally too.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all nice. It's just, you know, we weren't super close, but yeah, living down there was kind of isolating, which is, you know, good and bad in my opinion. I'm like, people need, you know, human interaction, but also being able to like get away from all of the noise and stuff is so nice.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it was still noisy because there were like a bajillion cicadas, and it was like a lot of woods. Like if you look at it on Google Maps, I'm pretty sure it's still all woods down there.
Yeah. And the house that we used to live in, they like tore it down and turned it into a friggin' palace.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still like the same structure like entirely, but they definitely like gutted it. You know, like they took like all of like the floors out, changed all the walls. They took a couple of walls out, and it like concerned me because I was like, isn't that wall one of the things holding up the floor above it? And you just took that whole wall out. Yeah, now it's like listed for like $1 million or something, and I'm pretty sure our parents had to foreclose on it, and like it sold for like $200,000 or something like that. It was not in great shape. Yeah, I miss that house.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wish we could have stayed and fixed it, you know. If we were a bit older, things could have been different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. But oh well.
You live and you learn.
Or you don't, and then you die. Yeah. I feel like my sense of humor is just getting darker and darker the older I get. But honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not saying like a bunch of fucked up shit. It's just, you know, shit that's like, damn.
Yeah.
That's dark.
And sometimes it's just easier to laugh about your problems.
It is, because it's like
otherwise you'd be miserable all the time.
Literally, and I get miserable very easily, and I wish I didn't, but you know. Genetics! Yeah, freaking depression runs in our family. It sucks!
Yeah.
But yeah, no, being able to laugh about your problems is healthy. Oh yeah, one of them stayed behind.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes it's just the older you get, the easier it is to laugh about your problems.
Oh,
but
yeah,
then
for sure.
Sometimes it's not. Like, I know older people that are super jolly, and then I know other older people that are, like, super grumpy all the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, like, this is just being real, like, pain level and mobility level. Like, because, like, a lot of, like, the people who seem like happier older folks seem like they have more mobility. And then a lot of the ones who seem really miserable, it's
have,
like they're
a lot of underlying health issues.
and their bodies are, like,
pain.
falling apart. Yeah. Having trouble walking, having trouble standing up and stuff like that. Because when you become, especially if you're, like, a person who was really independent, and as you get older you're like having to become more dependent on other people for things like cooking and getting across a room and shit like that, it just, I could imagine it'd be very frustrating, you know. And then also I think a lot of people, you know, do get really down and depressed because life doesn't turn out the way you want it to, but it's like, hey, that's like most people, and guess what, we're all gonna die, so I mean, it kind of sucks, but you know, it's reality. So it's like, do you want to be miserable until you die, and then like on your deathbed you're like, damn, I spent too much time being sad, and then you know, flatline. Like, that's one thing that frustrates me, when people like wait until like the end to like mend their, you know, problems or try to fix relationships. I'm like, you literally had to wait till you died. Like, when like, just fix your problems, stop being petty, like, you know.
And then there's the people that are the opposite. They're like super nice their whole life, and then they're about to die.
I
like,
just
let me
wanted
confide something in you. I always hated your guts. Just die.
I'm so glad I got that off my chest.
This is the happiest moment of my life. The end.
The end.
That'd be
dark.
terrible.
I joke about that sometimes too, because like, okay, so I started going to the gym a lot this year. I go like 6 days a week. I'm there for like a few hours a day, and like I've always, well, not always, but for like the past like 4 or 5 years, I've been, yeah, probably 4 years, I've been working out 6 days a week at home. COVID happened like shortly after I started going to the gym, and I was just doing cardio at that point, so I was like, let me just do some weightlifting at home, cardio at home, stuff like that. I started going to the gym this year, and now it's like so easy for me to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I think to myself all the time, I'm like, death is gonna be like the best nap of my entire life. Like, literally, just you know, and I don't want to die. Obviously, it's like I want to live a long, fulfilling life, you know, and you know, happy life, be, you know, just whatever. But I hope when I go, it is like just in my sleep, and I just go to sleep, and I'm like, oh my god, this is such a good night of sleep, and then just
that's
like
how
sleep.
everyone wants to go.
Literally, I'm like, wouldn't that be the best way?
Yeah.
Go like a Betty White, you know, just like go to sleep, be like, I'm having a great day, and then
Yeah.
just I'm gone. Like,
I feel like there are some people out there that want to go out like being a hero, though.
oh yeah, but the thing is, I don't think they really want to go out being
They
a
just
hero.
want to like be a hero.
They want to be the hero, and they
Yeah.
put themselves in these situations, and then it's like when it gets too real, a lot of times it shakes people back to reality. But then there are also people who just are like incredibly selfless and like
like the dude from Forrest Gump.
who?
I don't know if you remember Forrest Gump too much, but when they were like in the Vietnam War, his
Was it Lieutenant Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, no, just leave me. I've saved everyone. Just leave me. I want to die a hero.
And
And
he's
he's
like,
like, no,
"No."
I've got you. And he like carries him out, and then he spends the rest of his life in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and he's like
just,
super miserable
super
and
alcoholic.
resentful. Isn't he like resentful of Forrest for like keeping him alive? He's like, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Right. So messed up.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but I remember that part. Yeah. I was thinking also just like specifically like firemen and EMT people specifically, I think like are like the heroes. And like, you know, I respect servicemen and stuff, but there are also crooked people who are like, I want a gun and I want to feel like I'm above the law. And yeah, and it sucks that those people exist. I'm not gonna malign every single cop, but like, you know, it fucking it just, you know, it paints a bad picture. You know, I'm not gonna be like, I love cops, you know, because there's a lot of shitty ones.
One thing that I've always thought is really creepy about police is that in bigger counties where there's like a lot of smaller towns, some of those smaller towns can literally have like their own entire police force that just like goes rogue and does whatever they want to.
And also,
we actually have down like there's a county around here where there's a police force like that.
which one?
I don't remember the name of the town, but it's down in St. Mary's somewhere. My coworker that I used to work with told me that he used to have a lot of issues with the police in that area because they were all like a bunch of crooks. And they were just like running together doing really shitty and shady things, being like, we better not catch you in our town again and shit like that.
And the thing too is like a lot of them will like, you know, harass people and like basically instigate the crime. You know, like which is like a big problem like racially. Like I feel like, you know, like they escalate the situation, and then when the person gets upset they're like, oh no, and then they like fire their gun. I'm like, you started this. I'm like, you brought this on yourself. Like you fucked up. Like and then there's also just cops protecting other crooked cops. Like I've overheard in the gym a couple of like people talking about like, you know, like someone, you know, pulled him over or whatever like that. It's like one of their cop buddies, and they found out they were like drinking or whatever, and then like they would just, you know, drinking and driving their cop car, and then like, you know, just like, you know, cover for him basically. You know, like they'd either like follow him back home, you know, just being like, all right, whatever, or they would like, you know, just like hide the evidence, or you know, you know, just shady shit. You know, I'm just kind of like, if you want to be a cop, you have to have like a gold standard, like, I don't know, metric of morals. And it kind of sucks to say, I feel like robots would be like better cops sometimes, but also that's like terrifying. I don't want robot cops. like, oh my god, that would be a nightmare. I don't know if it was real, but there was like a video of like this like robot that was learning how to like stand up and like take out like a threat or whatever, and it was like, these are being trained to use for like particularly dangerous crimes or something like that. And I was like, that's scary. Yeah. I just feel like a lot of human beings are flawed and like make stupid decisions, and also this is kind of mean to say, like I the qualifications for being a cop aren't as high as they should be. Like some people, it's like, how did you become a cop? You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And
then other people, it's like, well, obviously, like one of my friends, Cameron, from middle school and high school, he was such a great guy, and like he was always like super nice to everyone. And like, you know, we weren't super close friends or anything, but we you know, we always talked, and he was always really nice to me, and everyone who knows him likes him, and he's a cop, and I'm like, I feel like and he's a good person, you know, it's not just like, oh, he's like really like fun to be around, that's why everyone likes him. It's just because he like has a really good center of like ethics and morals, and is just a really good guy. It makes sense, like, him being a cop, but then I see some other people, I'm just like, I know you, and I'm like, how did you become a cop? I'm like, because you were a real fucking tool. Like, they're like, we need one of you on the force. You'd be great.
There's this one dude that I know who's a cop who used to like smoke weed and stuff like that, like any of us kids were back in the day or whatever. But he also was a little bit questionable. Like he had like a few moments where I was like, damn, he's kind of crazy. But now he's a cop and he seems like he's really turned his life around. He's like a special agent and stuff.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think, okay, first of all, anyone can have, like, a crazy moment. Like, you know, people, whenever they get, like, angry, like, are capable of doing really, like, crazy shit, but there's, like, certain lines, it's, like, once you cross, it's, like, okay, that, you know, like, we're not gonna, you know, associate with this person anymore. I don't know, like, specifically what you were talking about, you know, like, how crazy the thing was or
like
whatever.
Ready to get into fights with people.
Yeah, okay,
like
so
the
that's,
drop of a pin.
That's, you know, and, like, that sucks, but that's kind of normal. There's,
Yeah.
like, there's other crazy people who will, like, do murder or, like, you know, shit like that.
Right.
So I'm like, that's the line, and,
Yeah.
like, you know, other heinous crimes. But, I don't know. I don't think, like, being a jerk should, like, completely disqualify you from it, but at the same time, I feel like I'm like, you can't, you know, go out, you know, thinking to yourself, like, everyone's gonna get me, or, like, everyone's out there doing crime. With that said, you know, not just cops, I think everyone in general should just, like, raise their own standards. I feel like it's a big problem in Western culture in general because we watch so many trashy reality TV shows with rich people being terrible that we all just kind of lower our standards all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you, I don't know, I think, like, we should all just work on raising our standards. Like, if you are a better person, if we can do positive peer pressure by just being, you know, more better people more often. Because it's like, if you're surrounded by everyone who's doing the right thing, eventually you're going to be like, well, damn, I should do the right thing. Otherwise, I'm going to be the only asshole doing the wrong thing. Instead of like, well, everyone else steals, so why shouldn't I? You know, like, dumb shit like that. And I hate that too, when people are like, everyone else does it, and I'm like, that doesn't make it right.
Right.
Like, I'm like, it's that classic thing of like, well, if everyone else jumped off a bridge, would you? And then, like, half of Americans are fucking suicidal anyway, so they're like, yeah! Like, literally. But yeah, no, just raise your own standards and try to lift the standards of the rooms that you're in.
No,
oh my god!
damn. So close.
This one's so finicky. Even with the D-pad, it's like... It's really easy to go flying left and right. Yeah, and honestly, like, that's... And I'm not saying, like, every single firefighter is, like, a great person, but just, like, the fact that, like, your whole job is, like, I'm going to run into a burning building and these, like, dire disaster situations to try and save people's lives. Like, that, I don't know, to me, I just respect it a lot. And, like, because cops and military people, like, at some point, you're going to have to, like, shoot someone, probably. Yeah. And I'm like, and, like, you know... in your mind or whatever, it might be like, you know, like, obviously if it's like a criminal or something, it's like, yeah, you need to disarm them and stop them from doing whatever the fuck they're doing. But it's like, in military specifically, I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that. I couldn't do that. It's like, they didn't, I mean, well, I guess if they're in the military, well, a lot of countries draft people. I don't know. Right. Like, it's just, it's fucked up. Like, I'm thankful for their service and that, like, we live in this country and that, you know, we're really safe over here for the most part. But I don't like people having to die. Yeah. I wish that everyone was just good and we could all get along.
Yeah, but too many greedy people out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that note, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you'll join us next time.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.